What's up, people? It's your boy Slat. In this video, I'm going to show you guys the cost of living in Toronto. See, Toronto is a major city that has a lot of diversity, big companies, and a lot of people are trying to live there. So there's going to be competition for real estate. So a lot of people, you need to understand how it works in these major cities.
We want to make sure that it remains affordable to people, whether they rent or buy their home. But there's a very real and growing divide between those who can afford to live and work here and those who cannot.
So it got us thinking, how much does a family need to make to afford a home in Toronto? I'm joined by Rubina Ahmed Haq, personal finance expert. So Rubina, this is a family of four, let's imagine, and all they want is to own a detached home in the 416.
So a detached home in Toronto right now, the average cost is about $1.2 million. So that family would have to save a 20% down payment to get into that house. And then at today's interest rates, their mortgage payments would be $4,400 a month. So they're looking at more than $50,000 a year just on mortgage payments.
And that 20% down is the bare minimum. Now, you got the house, okay, so you obviously now need to light the house.
Right.
You need the hydro,
Yes.
you need gas, you need water. How much does that all cost?
And Farah, don't forget home insurance, maintenance, all the other costs that go into just being a homeowner. So all of a sudden, your costs jump to $75,000 a year.
That is a lot. Okay, let's say now that one parent works in the city, so they need a Metro Pass. That's $134 a month. But then the other parent takes a car, has a job in the burbs. How much will that cost?
So the parent that's driving to their job, they're spending about $700 a month just to maintain that car, put gas in it, purchase the car to begin with. With the Metro Pass costs added in, that's more than $11,000 a year that family will be spending on transportation costs.
Okay. Now let's talk about the kids.
Yes.
We all know as parents, daycare adds up. Say one kid is in daycare. The other one, though he's in school or she's in school, the parents don't finish their day when the school day ends because most parents don't, so they need after-school care. So how much will that all cost?
So daycare costs in Toronto are pretty high. For a toddler, $1,375 a month that family will have to pay to have their child be put into a daycare. And then after-school care is still more than $400 a month for that child that goes to full-day school. And then you got to think about the summertime when they need full-day care. That's another $1,000 for July and $1,000 for August. So now we're looking at more than $21,000 that family is spending just to have their children watched while they're away at work.
I'm just looking at the numbers. This is all adding up very fast. And we're still missing a couple things because this family needs to eat.
Yes, and grocery costs are pretty high. I mean, they're also more than $700 a month for a family of four to buy some groceries. So you're looking at more than $8,600 a year that Statistics Canada says that families spend on not just groceries, but maybe a couple takeout meals, maybe a couple visits to restaurants. Right. That's how much we spend on food.
Okay, connectivity is the next thing. So cell phones, internet, cable, how much does that all add to?
So the average family spends about $180 a month on those things. So you're looking at, again, another $2,100 a year just on those communications devices.
All right, so this is the basics we've got here. Is there anything else we're missing?
Well, we're also missing things like clothing, other essentials, last-minute expenses, out-of-pocket healthcare costs, because not everything is covered by our government healthcare plans. That's another, let's add in $3,000 a year to cover those type of costs for an average family living in Toronto.
Okay, now let's add everything together. How much does that cost?
So brace for it. It's more than $121,000 a year that family will have to spend just to have a bare minimum type of lifestyle in this city.
That's out of pocket. So how much do they need to make?
So that would mean a household would have to make about $200,000 a year in order to afford that type of lifestyle. And again, just to afford the basics.
And $200,000 to have a house in the city that doesn't include vacations, that doesn't include sports for the kids or any extra activities for the kids. That's just the bare basics.
That's just the bare minimum.
Okay, Rubina, thank you for crunching the numbers for us.
Thanks for having me.
Did you guys see that? You need 200 grand just to live in Toronto. Okay? $200,000. If you convert that to American dollars, that's about $155,000. That's how much you need just to live in Toronto. And I told you guys this, that's if you want to have a house. Just to buy a house in Toronto, you need to make... Oh gosh, I can't even say this anymore. This is something else. Okay, so if you have a family and you want to live in Toronto, you need to make 200 grand a year, Canadian dollars. Convert that to American dollars, that's about 155,000. So I can just imagine, okay, if a guy lived alone and he had no kids, so you can eliminate child care, communication can be decreased in payments. So if you get rid of those things, he's still gonna need about $140,000 just to buy a house in Toronto, US dollars. So I'm just trying to let you guys know how it is, because people out here will say, I'm gonna move to another city and things will be easier for me. Whatever is happening in Toronto is most likely happening in New York City, in most case scenarios. New York is very expensive. People who live there will tell you, it's just to get a one-bedroom apartment, you're gonna spend at least $1,500 to like $2,000 just to live there. But anyhow, so I'm just letting you guys know like Seattle's expensive, Vancouver's expensive, Toronto's expensive, New York, Boston, Miami, Atlanta, all these places. Any major city is getting expensive. So, long story short, working 2 jobs to make ends meet is not going to be enough anymore. Get a job that pays a lot of money that can accommodate your basic needs. Okay? I mean, I see these stories all the time. People are working 2 jobs and they saying all these stories, all these like, oh, look at me, someone help me out, I'm working 2 jobs, I need to be acknowledged, or someone give me sympathy. It's like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? Because if you're working 2 jobs while you're going to graduate school or you're trying to save money for it, it makes sense. If you're trying to save money for a company you want to start, it makes sense if you work 2 jobs. But just to work 2 jobs just to make ends meet with no plan is dumb. Okay? Get a career. Look for a job that's in demand. I can say healthcare is in demand, or starting your own company is in demand. Anything else apart from that is a hit or miss. It really is. But anyhow, let me know what you think. Peace.